Right then, hello ladies and gents, welcome to another repair video. Today we're going to be working on this Nintendo Switch Lite which has been sent in, and this console's been sent in because it's not turning on. So if we take a quick look at the back here, you can see that it's got a sticker here that just says not turning on, and that's not one of my stickers, so I'm assuming that it's been to another repair shop or another technician before me and they evidently couldn't fix it. So yeah, it's on our bench to try and get repaired. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just hook up a charging cable and just see what goes on. So I've got a USB tester here. Okay, and we get absolutely nothing on that. Flip the cable around, try it this side. And we get nothing that side as well. Okay, let me just confirm that the tester is working by plugging it into another board. And apparently not. Let's just flip this lead around. Okay, so now it's working. So this is a USB-C coupler, and basically I have to use this so as I can have it away from the wall charger. So it only works one side of the cable. So let's try it now that I know the USB tester is working. Oh, we still get nothing. Okay, let's try it this side. Interesting. So that could mean a couple of things. It could mean that we've just got something simple like a blown fuse or a damaged charger port, but it could also mean that the USB detect is not working, and that is usually related to a power management chip. So what's happening here is the charger is not detecting that something's plugged in, which means that it can't turn itself on and it can't provide power. So yeah, let's get into this and let's see what's going on with it. So while I do have your attention, if you are new to the channel and you enjoy this type of content, then I would really appreciate it if you subscribe and turn on bell notifications, so that way you're notified whenever I release a video. And you can also check me out over on Twitch. I don't just stream and do repair content on Twitch, I also play games as well. Come and hang out, have a little bit of fun every so often, and unwind a little bit with some Call of Duty. If you're feeling really generous, you can become a Twitch Prime subscriber by linking your Amazon Prime account, and then by subscribing to my Twitch channel for free. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does help out the channel. It gives me around about $2.50 every month. So with that being said, let's see what we can do with this then. So like I said, this looks like it's been to another repair shop before here, and evidently they couldn't fix it. So it's going to be interesting to see what goes on with this. So we've got a PH00 and a Y000. There we go. So let's just open it up. And it's yet another one which has had the screws chewed. I am so sick of seeing these this week. Every switch that I've worked on this week has had prior repair attempts, and they appear as though someone doesn't know how to use a screwdriver. One thing I am noticing is there is a crack in this case. And there's also another screw which doesn't want to come out. So there's a crack in the case just here, so that could indicate some sort of impact damage. Just take a look there. It could indicate some sort of impact damage with the system. So that could be useful information, or it could be completely pointless. I'll inspect the charger port when I take it out of the case, or rather when I get the motherboard out of the case. What the? Where's that come from? That's a piece of glass. Wait, what? Has that fell out of there? Okay, that's really weird. There's a piece of glass, literally. I'm not even joking here. There's a piece of glass there. I don't know where that could have come from. That's very odd. Very odd indeed. So I've got to try and get this open, but there's a screw stuck in here. That's confused the life out of me. Ah, that's why the screw is stuck. It's all mangled. Yeah, never mind. Alright, so these are fairly simple to open up. They're not too bad. That's not the right screw. Yet again, we've had some cowboys in here. Okay, why is there flux or something all over this connector? What? Why do we have flux or something all over there? This is going to be a disaster. I've got a feeling this is going to be a disaster. CPU shield looks like it's been taken off. This shield has been taken off. Yeah, this has been in. Oh wow. It's been lung screwed. It's also been lung screwed. Those screws do not belong there. So here's the difference. The silver screws. Let me see if I can get the. Let me see if I can get a close up. So the silver screws are what was meant to go into where that game card reader is. And this one had the gold screws in it. That's not correct. And I don't know, but that could potentially damage the screen. Because if it screws in, again there, a gold screw, wrong. If it screws in too far, then it's going to crack the screen. So I don't even know now if the screen is going to work if I do manage to get it to turn on. So I'm going to go under the microscope, but yeah, all of these shields have been pulled off. Why, I do not know. But the shields have been pulled off. We've got flux and things all over here. We've got flux all over here. Someone has been beating this up pretty badly. Let's have a look under the microscope. Alright, so this is the area I'm referring to. Why do we have flux all over here? All over this connector. Why? Oh dear Lord. It's everywhere. Alright, this charging port has definitely, very obviously been replaced at some point. Not very well, I might add. I'm going to guarantee those pins are not connected. I'm going to say it now. Those pins are not connected. Nope, nope, nope. Oh wow, there's traces. Oh, good Lord. What on earth has happened here? Right, I'm hanging the board over at the edge of the table. This is probably why it's not picking anything up. I'm going to hang the board over the edge of the table. And I'm going to heat the board up from the other side. So I'm going to use hot air from the bottom. And I'm going to get this port off. This is shocking. Something just flew off. We've got trace damage. Wow. That's really bad. That is real bad. That is not how you solder a port. That is not how you solder a port. This is terrible. Absolutely ridiculous. Battery connector has been floated by the look of it. It looks like they've melted everything. And they've had to throw another connector on. Which now I've got to inspect because I don't have a clue if that's going to be any good. I don't have a clue if that's going to be any good. But let's tackle the charging port issue first. Alright, so step number 1 is going to be to just clean up. Okay. I'm not sure if you can tell by the sound of my voice, but I'm not happy with this situation. At all. Not happy at all with this situation. Alright, so let's just wick this away a bit. Alright, I'm going to clear these ground holes out some more. To do that, I'm going to use some hot air with the solder sucker. Might be better to just flip it around. Do from this side. As you can see, that is not great. I've just knocked the fuse out as well, so I'll have to fix that. Look at the state of this. What is this here? What on earth? Yeah, that connector, that battery connector just fell straight back off. Kinda knew it would. I kinda knew it would. Nothing I can do about that. Other than just resolder it back on in a minute. I kind of expected it to fall off, to be honest. I think this board needs an ultrasonic clean, to be honest. Now, alright. Okay, so one thing I do want to do before I go any further, I think, is just test around here, around M92T36, and just see what we're dealing with here. See if there's any signs of shorts. So M92T36 is the power management IC, and that is responsible for distributing power across the board. And I'm going to pop one probe on a ground point and the other probe on one end of the caps. We have a short on M92T36. So this cap here is not meant to be shorted on the bottom, and it is. So we also have an M92T36 issue, which is going to need to be dealt with. So I'm going to get a new chip installed. So I've got my hot air set at 420 degrees Celsius at 40% airflow. There we go. So there's the M92T36 removed. Now let's test that component again. So I can use the middle pad for ground now. And short is gone. So if we install a new M92T36, then that should clear any power issues. I've got a replacement M92T36. I'm going to flow this down. Just tack it down slightly. Then I can add some flux. And surface tension should pull this in. Here we go. Beautiful. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I want to make sure that this chip is flat to the board, so I'm going to press down gently onto the chip. and we're going to see some solder squeeze out, which is fine. That just means that the chip is flat to the board and it's pushing the excess solder from the ground pad. Perfectly normal. And there we go. So now we need to clean up this excess solder. So for that I add a tad more flux. Always add flux whenever you're soldering. It's going to help the solder to flow. Just going to tap that area. There we go. Bit of thermal paste on this chip. It's fine. It's not a brand new chip. It's one that I installed on another board yesterday which I couldn't fix. So it's already got solder on the bottom of it. And it had some thermal paste on it from my finger from yesterday. But it's fine. It is a known good working chip. So I'll just clean that area again using some IPA. A lot of the work that's involved in this is cleaning up after yourself. The soldering part is fast and dirty. It's cleaning up that counts. We don't want to cause it to end up corroding in the future. So there's meant to be a fuse just here, and that fell off as well. Well, that fell off because I was using the solder sucker in that area, which is fine as long as you put a new one on. Okay, so there is some fresh solder on the area. Let's solder that on. There we go. Alright, so brand new fuse installed. We replaced M92T36. I'm going to test the area again for shorts, make sure that it's good. It should be. Should be fine. So, one probe on ground. This side is ground. This side is not. Okay. Good, no shorts around here. Alright. Let's test this coil here. Okay, the coil is good. Sorry, you couldn't even see that. This coil here is good. That trolled me sometimes. There's no shorts on BQ24193, which is good. Let's have a look at the rest of the board, see if we've got any more signs of any madness. I don't think we have. That's fine. All good. This board does need a good clean. It needs ultrasonicing. So what I'm going to do is, while I'm doing the rest of the work, I'm going to turn my ultrasonic cleaner on and heat it up, because it takes a while. Alright, so the next step is to just tackle this here and the battery terminal as well. So let's tackle the battery terminal first. Don't want to be putting hot air around the port once I've already got it on. Whereas the battery terminal, as long as I don't flip the board upside down while I'm using hot air, shouldn't come off again. Sorry, but now that I've touched one of those, I've got to colour them in. OCD. Sorry. I'm talking about these little test points here. Alright, so before I actually do that with the battery, I need to inspect this, because this has definitely been messed with. I think it's fine. I don't actually think this has been messed with, actually. I think it's just got flux on it. I did wipe it down. I don't think it's been taken off. The battery terminal was. Let's just inspect some more of this area of the board as well. So far, I mean, it seems fine. Don't see any more signs of damage. It seems okay. I think we'll be fine. So, what we need to do then is just tin the charging port area. And then I can potentially drop the new battery connector and the charging port on pretty much at the same time. So the good thing about this is it doesn't need to dock. So we haven't really got to worry too much about it, the charging port, as long as it's charging both sides. I'm sorry, but these test points up here are doing my swiveling as well. They just look really, really bad. So I'm going to play colour in the test point. They just look real bad. Sorry. Alright, fun time's over. Activities for technicians. Alright, so I need to check out the pins and see if I'm going to need to run any jumper wires here. That one there is very visibly a no connect. I'm not worried about that bottom pin. That's very visibly no connect. There's nothing there. And this one is going to need a jumper wire. So I need to expose this trace because I can see that it's got a wire there. Okay, so there's the wire exposed. Let's see what we can do about running a jumper wire, shall we? Let's just add some flux here. And I'm going to tin this wire. Like that. Just going to retin the rest of those pads as well. They don't look completely even. So I'll retin that. And then I'm going to grab some jumper wire. This is going to be 0.067mm jumper wire. Very thin stuff. Very, very thin stuff indeed. So what I'm going to need to do here is just expose some of this jumper wire, because the wire is enamelled and that means that it's coated. So I'll just expose a little bit of enamelled wire, tack it down onto the wire there so as it stays in position. And then I'm going to need to just make sure it solders properly. And then I can trim the end of the wire. There we go. And then what I'm going to need to do is clean up again, and I'm going to need to secure that jumper wire in place. So I'm going to need to put some conformal coating there just to prevent it from coming up when I use hot air in the area. So for that I need a clean surface. Alright, so all this is going to do is just allow me to have somewhere to solder the pin to. Alright, so what I've got here is some conformal coating. This is Mechanic UV Hype 900, and it is basically a PCB glue. It's going to protect the area, but at the same time it's going to hold the jumper wire in place when I use some hot air for when I drop the port on. I'll just add a little bit of that there, and then I'm going to cure it using a UV pen. It is UV curable mask, So I'm going to queue that. It's going to take about 20 seconds and then it will harden. Okay, that should be hardened. Yep, good enough. And now I can drop a port on. But first, I'm going to need to drop on the battery connector. I can't do anything until I put that battery connector on. So all I'm going to do for that is just basically drop it in place. And then I'm going to hover the board over the edge of the table again. And I'm going to heat up from the bottom. That's going to prevent me from melting the connector any more than it already is. I don't have any of these connectors, so I'm going to have to use the old one. So I'll just hover the board over the edge of the table, and I'm going to heat up from the bottom like I said. So you can see the isopropyl alcohol just evaporating away there. There we go. And I'm going to come away for a minute until it settles. And just add a little bit of flux just to make sure it flows nicely. Heat up again. And surface tension, come on. Surface tension. It's pretty much perfectly aligned, it's fine. There we go. Alright, so battery connector is back on. Now we need to do a port. So for the port it's the same deal. Hover the board over the edge of the table. And then I'm going to drop the port on. And then I'm going to heat it up. So I'm going to keep the airflow moving now. Oh damn, the battery connector just flew off again. I'm going to let that go. I'm going to add some flux. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for the hot air to turn off, and then I'm going to remove the nozzle and reflow it back down again. Right, so next up I'm going to just take the nozzle off of the hot air gun, and I'm going to reflow this with flux on it just to make sure that it solders properly. And then I'm going to have to find another battery connector because that one went flying. Right, well, this is annoying. I've just broken my nozzle, my angled nozzle. It's kind of snapped. That's annoying because now we're going to buy a new one. So now we're going to try and pry this off. There we go. Right, well, that's really annoying. I mean, it's seen some use. Alright, so I need to just add some flux here, and I'm going to flow this down properly. Alright, so time to get this battery connector back on. I've actually just found it. It fell on the floor. So now I just need to solder that back on. Alright, there we go. Right, so this connector doesn't look great now for the battery, but unfortunately there's not a lot I can do with that. I have just looked and I've actually stolen all of the battery connectors off my donor boards. There we go. Okay, so let's just sort out these pins, touch up these pins here. Alright, so let's just do the back, make sure there's enough solder. There we go. Alright. And we're done. Sort of. So, there's a couple of things I need to do. Number one, I need to test it and just see if it turns on. Number two, I need to basically ultrasonic clean the board, make sure that it's nice and clean. And then number three is I'm going to need to modify the port because the port for the switch Lite can't be purchased. So what we have to do is we have to take a Dremel and we have to just shave down the edge of the port because the Nintendo Switch Lite ports are a little bit smaller than the Nintendo Switch original ports, but unless we buy them pre-modified off eBay, they're not official, remember, unless we buy them pre-modified off eBay or AliExpress even, for 4 to 5 times the price of a normal port, we have to do it ourselves. So you can buy them pre-modified, but you're going to pay a premium because people have got to take the time to actually modify them for use. I'm just going to make sure that it turns on before I ultrasonic clean the board. I only need the LCD for that. And the backlight, of course, but that's it. So if the board doesn't turn on, then it's pointless cleaning it. So I may as well just see if I can get it to charge. Okay. So I've got everything in there which I need to be able to see whether it turns on or not. So what I want to do is just hook up the USB ammeter and just verify first of all that it's the correct way around. So to do that, I'm just going to plug in a Nintendo Switch board. There we go, so that does turn on. Let's see if the switch wants to charge. There we go. Looks like it's either very, very dead or we've got no display and backlight. .48 and still no display and backlight. So the question now is, why is it got no backlight? So that could just be pure backlight reasons, and it could be down to that connector. But we've got no display and backlight, or at least no backlight. Let's have a look at the voltage on the battery. Let's just see if it's charging. 3.7 volts. Okay, that is a bit low, but it is charging, it is increasing. So I'm going to leave it for a little while. I'm going to leave it to charge and just see what happens. We've got 0.48 amps. I'm waiting for that to bump up to fast charging as well, so we'll see what happens when it does. It is charging at 15 volts, which means power delivery is working. But it's strange how we've got no backlight. But what I'm going to do actually, first of all, because I don't know if that connector's got any flux or anything in it which is preventing the connection. So I'm going to put the board through the ultrasonic cleaner. Before I go any further. So I'll clean the board properly and then I'll take it from there. Right, so this has just come out of the ultrasonic cleaner and it should realistically be working, so I'm hoping it is. So I'm going to clean off the little ribbon here just to make 100% sure that we've not got any connection issues. I don't think it's going to be the connector. Alright, let's see what's going on with it now. Let's see if we get a backlight. Probably not, to be honest. Nope. No backlight. No backlight. Well, that's annoying. So we've got 0.47 amps. It is charging. It is turning on, but I don't think it's going to be worth replacing the screen if it is the screen. And I've got a feeling it is. And the reason for that is simple. This had a load of long screws in it. The wrong size screws. So I think the screen has probably been damaged, to be quite honest. And if that's the case, then it's not worth fixing. I think either the screen has been damaged or the backlight driver has been damaged. it is possible that the backlight driver has been damaged based on the fact that there's been heat in this area. So it could be that the backlight has ended up damaged. Let's just have a look, see if we get any voltage around here. We get 3.9 volts. Okay, let's look under the microscope a sec. So let's just see if we get voltage around the backlight then. We do get 4 volts there. Alright. So if we're getting 4 volts here and we're getting 4 volts here, that means there's power getting to the backlight. I'm not sure if this switch I've got here works. So I'm just going to take this board out and I'm going to swap them. And that's going to tell me where the issue lies, as long as this LCD works. But I don't actually know. I don't know if it works or not. That's the only problem. I've got so many consoles just lying around which I don't know where they come from. I don't know the origins. I don't know what's happened to them, whether the screens work. This is the problem. I don't have a clue. So if this screen works, I mean, I could replace the screen. But the problem with that is I've got to take into account the value of the console at around about £120. The fact that I've already had to do trace repair, a port and a chip, as well as a major cleanup, and that's the issue. Okay, so here's the test housing then. No display on that one. A 0.48 amp current draw tells me there's something else wrong, because it's instantly bumping up to 0.48 amps. Now, the problem with that is, yes, that is technically a slow charge, but really it shouldn't bump up to 0.48 amps that quickly. This switch, the green one, that's been dead for a long time. Like, the battery's been dead for a long time. It shouldn't bump up to 0.48 amps that quickly. It should trickle charge. So it's a little bit strange, to say the least. Let's try this board inside the customer's housing. Yeah, I think it's a bad display, to be honest. That's turning on. Like, this board here is turning on, hence why it's flickering, and you can hear the speaker as well. That one's not. And that's fast charging on that battery. That's not turning on. It's not booting. It's not worth fixing. There's too many more issues. So the problem is, number one, the screen does not work. The screen does not work. Unless, maybe not. I've stolen a chip from here, a very important chip. The backlight driver. So this could work, potentially. Yeah, so I've stolen a chip from here. These 9 little pads here, those 9 little balls, they are basically the backlight driver, I believe. So it's meant to have a chip on there. So I'm going to steal that chip from here. This is a Nintendo Switch original board. I'm going to just drop it on. So if you look at the circuit layout here, it's exactly the same because it's the same circuit. Alright, so even though my nozzle is broken, I'm going to try and get away with using it. It still works. Let's try that in the customer's housing. Remember, this is my own board. This is not the customer's board. I just want to see if I can get the screen to turn on. If I can get the screen to turn on, then I could realistically just say to the customer, right, your board is screwed, do you want another board? And be done with it. Either way, I'm releasing this video anyway, no matter what. This video will be a no fix, I think. But yeah, it sucks. Yeah, no display. Well, no backlight rather. But it is fast charging. I think the screen is knackered. I can try this board with that screen now and just see if it makes a difference. Yeah, I don't think this screen works either, to be honest. Yeah, I'm just going to throw that to one side. Whatever. Yeah. Here's the thing. This battery is charged enough to be able to fast charge the system. And this board is taking power. But nothing's displaying on the screen. On either board. Could be the board. Nothing's displaying on the screen. And it's stuck on slow charge. So, yeah, it could be anything. Honestly. It could be anything. I don't know if it's going to be worth spending any more time on it. I've already done trace repair on it. And the trace repair is successful, by the way, because it is charging. Or at least it is attempting to charge. And the M92 T36 chip as well. And then on top of that, we've got other issues. So it's not really worth it. See, and then straight to 0.48 there. That's not normal. It's not normal at all. I think this has probably got a bad CPU. Maybe. Or the RAM's been floated. That's another possibility. But if the RAM was floated, it would at least attempt to turn on. And then it would just fail. Usually. Yeah, I'm calling it here. I'm calling this a no fix. This has been too badly messed up. I'm not going to waste any more time on this one, unfortunately. It's just not worth it. It's not worth wasting any more time on. It's had an M92 T36. It's had a charging port, trace repair, clean up, and it's still not working. The value of the device versus the cost of repair, it's just not economically viable. So, unfortunately, it's going to be a loss on this one. It is quite sad, but it is what it is, and there's nothing you can do about it sometimes. So, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed the video anyway. It is really annoying. But, yeah, I'm going to release a video anyway. It just goes to show that this probably could have been fixed, but because it's been messed with, and it's been messed with by someone who doesn't know what they're doing, yeah, it can now no longer be fixed. So, yeah, unfortunately, it's a no fix from me. So that's going to be for this video. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down in the comment section down below. I really enjoy reading your guys' comments, and I enjoy replying to them as well. If you do want to organise a repair, don't send it to an amateur. Just send it to someone who knows what they're doing. But if you do want to send it to me, there'll be a link in the video description for my website where you can book in your repair and you can get it sent over. And I'll do my best to get it working. If you enjoy this type of content and you want to see more repair videos, then be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications so that you're notified whenever I release a video. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so by becoming a Patreon supporter using the link in the video description. You can become a channel member using the join button down below the video, or you can of course head over to Twitch, subscribe with your Amazon Prime account, and that's free for you to do, but it's supporting the channel. And you can become a Twitch Prime subscriber. All channel members and Patreon members get early access to videos, so if you want to see them early, then that's the way to do it. But that's going to be for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Sorry I couldn't fix this one, and until next time, I'll see you later. Bye for now.